Hello and welcome to Newsmakers. I am Susanne Morreale Leeber, and today I have the great pleasure of being with Kathleen Gagne and Diana Casavecchia from Mechanics Hall in Worcester. Welcome, and thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, thanks so much for asking us. I'm excited.
I am totally amazed at the beautiful historical things in this building. Kathleen, can you tell me a little bit about the history of Mechanics Hall?
Well, do you have a couple days?
Well, unfortunately, no.
So the Worcester County Mechanics Association, which was formed in 1842, built the hall some years later, 1857, and it was their exhibition hall. It was also provided classroom space for teaching mechanical arts, and always had this room, which we call the Great Hall, as a performance space for music, cultural activities, lectures, that sort of thing. And then, so in the mid to late 1800s, everyone who was anyone came through Mechanics Hall to speak to the city of Worcester and their folks, and folks from Boston would come out frequently because Worcester was at the center of the world, really, being an industrial city and very successful. So a lot of anti-slavery speeches were made here. Women's rights were talked about here on this stage. The temperance movement was very big in those days, and people chuckle about that, but the truth is the mechanics were at the forefront of paying laborers with wages and not alcohol. So that was a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah, and then of course major performers and authors, Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson and Mark Twain and Charles Dickens are just a few. Enrico Caruso, Rubinstein, the list is tremendously long.
Yes.
And then after the early part of the last century, Worcester Boys Trade School opened, and so all the classroom activity that was in Mechanics Hall previously went over there. One major activity gone. And then in 1932, when the Worcester Memorial Auditorium opened, gorgeous building, everything moved over there because it was brand new. It was quite stunning. They had more seats, and we were old by then. By 1932, Mechanics Hall was already pretty old. So that started what I lovingly call the dark days. But a lot of people in Worcester remember coming here for wrestling matches and roller skating and 4-H club meetings and dance lessons and whatever could pay the bills.
Exactly.
We rented the hall for. And then finally in the early 70s, the fire department closed us down for not being up to code. So the question was, do we restore the building or do we knock it down? It really is kind of an albatross. I don't know what we'd use it for. So there was a major debate among the trustees about what to do. And they hired architectural historians who said, boy, you have the finest pre-Civil War performance hall in the country.
And this beautiful organ.
Exactly. And then they hired acoustical engineers, and they came in and said, you have one of the finest concert halls in the world. Wow. So the decision was made to restore the hall, luckily for all of us. And so now we're in a new day, and the hall is used for an average of about 250 events every year. We function as a rental facility, although we do some programming ourselves, and we do a lot of community outreach activity. So we cater to nonprofits. You'll notice on our schedule on the website that we do a lot of nonprofit activity, whether that's performances or fundraising galas or even meetings. We do a lot of that. And we also, you mentioned the organ. We use the organ as much as we can. It was restored in 1982.
So it's a working organ.
Oh, it absolutely. It's a tracker organ, and that means it's manual. There are 3,504 pipes to this organ, and the chamber, which you can barely see behind us, but it's 3 stories, And you know, the pipes in it are either this big or as massive as you see behind us. It's a demanding organ to play, but Worcester is very blessed with having an amazing pool of very talented organists who can handle this machine. Yeah. So, well, we do a lot of free concerts. So we probably do 9 to 15 free concerts every year. Many of them include the organ. We do a brown bag series at noontime. We're starting those up in November, mid-November.
I know you do a lot of holiday.
We do. There's a lot of things coming up for the holidays. In fact, our holiday kickoff is always in November. This year it's on the 24th, and it's the Worcester Men of Song, which are barbershop harmony group. Nice. And their show this year is called It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. So they really pretty much always open up what we call the holiday season around here. And we do have many events, 2 brown bags, 2 free concerts at noontime, always on a Wednesday. On December 4th, we've got the New England Conservatory folks coming with their orchestra and choral group to play with the U.S. Navy Band Northeast, and it's always an extravaganza of holiday cheer. It's really very fun.
So the public is invited.
Absolutely,
to come in,
yes,
and it's free of charge.
And it's free of charge. It's very informal. You can bring your own brown bagged lunch, or you can buy them here while they last. And it's very informal. You can come and go as you please. A lot of people come in on their lunch break.
That I think is great.
It's amazing. We've been doing that brown bags for 36 years.
So your mission?
Our mission is to make the hall available, which means make sure it's preserved and maintained properly, so that the community can use it for activities that enrich, enlighten, and I forget what
inspire.
The third word. Thank you so much. Inspirational and enriching events, so mostly cultural, nonprofit events, that kind of thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Diana, I know that you talk about the citizenship events that you have. Could you just tell us a little bit about that?
So 5 times a year we have the naturalization ceremony, and people become U.S. citizens in this building. It's transformed into a federal court.
Talk about inspiration.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's beautiful.
I get goosebumps every time. It's just very patriotic, and I mean, in addition to that, we have so many different types of events that people hold here: proms, graduations, weddings. So you know, it's what inspires you, and so yeah.
I like the fact that the community has access to this beautifully. It's just the decorations and the older pieces. I saw a ticket booth, the old ticket booths downstairs. They are amazing.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. They're made out of black walnut. And when they came in to do the restoration, the Smithsonian got wind of the ticket kiosks and wanted them. But of course we said, no, I'm sorry, you can't have them. They're quite stunning. Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And you have many, many paintings like in the ceiling and photos around of historic people.
Right. The images here in the Great Hall are, and also there are 4 downstairs in the Washburn lobby area, represent contemporaries. Except for George Washington, everyone here was contemporary to the 1850s and 60s. Okay. And they were regionally important people, most of them influential in the state of Massachusetts, and some of them nationally. So there's several presidents and several state senators, U.S. senators from Massachusetts and such. So, and there's Civil War heroes. We used to have in those days cotillions for the Civil War soldiers who came home on R&R. Can you imagine this room with all the men in their dress uniforms and the women in their amazing skirts? So yeah, multiple uses, and the history of Worcester really is in these walls.
It reflects in these
Absolutely. Anything important that happened in Worcester and continues to happen in Worcester happens in this hall. You know, and we invite that. We do municipal debates. I think we had 4 of them scheduled this past election season, and those we work with the Chamber of Commerce and the Research Bureau and League of Women Voters to invite the public in here for that kind of discourse, which historically is a perfect use of our building.
I know that this is your beautiful centerpiece of this whole building, but there are other rooms. Correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have the Great Hall that we're in right now. We have Washburn Hall, which is the smaller of the 2 halls. But yeah, pretty much all of our spaces get used for different types of
You have
events.
meetings, small meetings, large meetings?
We do, yeah. We have a conference room, we have a boardroom. Boyden Salon, which is on the outside of the Great Hall, is a great cocktail space, and it gets used, again, multiple different ways. All of our spaces are flexible, so that means we can set them up pretty much to whatever you're looking for, and you get to work with one of our salespeople to design your event. You tell us what you're looking for, what the purpose of your event is, and then we can work with you to say, okay, well, we've seen it this way, we can do it this way, and help the flow of an event work within the walls of Mechanics Hall.
Terrific. Kathleen, you mentioned the website. Could you give us the website address?
Sure, it's mechanicshall.org.
That's
It's
easy.
very easy to remember. I did want to mention some other great holiday events, which are annuals. So we have the Worcester Chorus, which is part of Music Worcester, a major client of ours, music presenter, doing Messiah. They do every year. That this year Messiah is on December 7th. I think they've done it every year for 113 years, something amazing, some amazing story like that here. And then we have the Massachusetts Symphony Holiday Pops event, which this year is on the 14th. It's a Saturday night. That's always a sellout. So if anybody out there is interested, you better get your tickets now. And then the following day, on the 15th, we have the Nutcracker Ballet, which has come here every year for, I don't know, 30-something years.
And they fit on this stage?
We have stage extensions so that if everything fits, it's a beautiful performance, and there are 2, one at 1 o'clock matinee and one at 5 in the afternoon. That too is extremely popular.
So for the holidays, Mechanics Hall is where you should come.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Are there any last thoughts?
I would just say always check our website, because we're adding events every day. And so if you're looking for something to do, check our website. If you're looking to host an event, check our website. And all the contact information will be there.
mechanicshall.org.
Correct.
That's terrific. And thank you, both of you. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you.
For joining me today.
Yeah.
To inform the public. And I invite everyone to come and see this beautiful facility. And thank you. Bye.
May it be Christmas each day for the rest of your life, for the rest of your rise up, shepherds, and follow, yes, follow the star to Bethlehem. Rise up, shepherds.
Hi, I'm Matt Leeber. I'm here today with Monsignor Michael Rose from St. Mary's Catholic Church in Shrewsbury. Thank you for joining me. And
Thank you, Matt. Good to be
wanted
with
to
you.
talk a little bit about, in particular, Advent and Christmas coming up, and what's new at the church, particularly to events that are going on around that time, and services, special services.
Well, Advent and, of course, Christmas is a very special time of year for all of us, and especially in our parish community at St. Mary's, both within the parish and in the school. The season of Advent this year begins on Sunday, December 1st. So with the coming of December, Advent's with us. And it's really meant to be a season of preparation, all the preparations so that we can celebrate Christmas, which for Christian people is the celebration of Jesus' birth. But also the season of Advent is also looking about to the future as well. We talk about celebrating our faith in the second coming of Jesus. So it's a little contrast to our culture, which dives right into Christmas. So it's really meant to be a tempered preparation, preparing to celebrate. But there are some special things that we do, both within the church and within the parish and school as well. People know it's Advent as soon as they walk into the church because they see the color purple everywhere in terms of vestments and decor. And also central in the sanctuary would be an Advent wreath in many, many Christian churches, which the lighting of each candle brings light into the darkness, and it also marks the counting of the 4 weeks of the season of Advent. So it's also always a special time with the themes of Scripture. The music of Advent is going to be much, much more of O Come, Emmanuel, as opposed to O Come, Let Us Adore Him, which is the Christmas, hymn. So in the church celebrations, we are focused on preparing. John the Baptist, the prophet, Mary's expectancy are evident in the scriptures. But apart from that, also in terms of preparing, there are some service things that the parish gets involved in as well. One of the largest things that's very popular in many, many churches would be the Advent or the Christmas giving tree, where there are tags for us, it's for children in need. All of what we collect in terms of gifts are given to both St. Anne's Human Services and to the families that they assist throughout the year, and also to Catholic Charities, to many of the refugee and immigrant families that are serviced by Catholic Charities in Worcester. Our religious ed classes and our classes in school also have giving projects. So it's all about preparing to give at Christmas.
You at the school, I think people aren't as familiar with the school or don't know.
Yeah, we have a preschool through grade 8. And because it's a Catholic school, religion curriculum is integrated into their school day. Prayer, service become a big part of what they do. So they're always looking to find ways to serve, others. And they do that in a special way, in the season of giving as well.
You had mentioned about Advent, and I worry sometimes that Advent gets lost because society has been so, Christmas things start appearing in the stores at the end of August, and they're all, it's grand to think about Christmas and the family celebration, but Advent has a real spiritual meaning.
It does. It's really meant to be as a purple period of preparation. It's meant to have some focus on preparation, penance, quiet, meditating, just the exact opposite of what the culture is doing about, going wild and going crazy. So we recognize that the culture, that we live in doesn't like to wait. It likes to jump in to celebrate, and then once we've celebrated, it ends.
It's over. Yeah.
Whereas for the church, Advent is all about preparing for Christmas, and that actually Christmas is not a day, but a season that really lasts those days from Christmas all the way to January 6th, the Feast of the Epiphany, with special feasts that are there. But it's hard to hold on to that.
It is now. It's harder today than I think it ever
So
was.
within the liturgy, on the weekends, that it's that it's Advent. And some of the things that we do outside of that, we'll have a breakfast with Santa for the families on one of the Sundays after the Masses. They'll come downstairs. We have a Christmas Carol Festival, which is a wonderful intergenerational family event.
Oh, that sounds good.
Grandparents, parents, children come. And basically, again, it's for them to sing the songs of Christian Christmases that now are not necessarily the songs that they're learning or listening to or able to sing in school or are able to, sing on the radio or whatever they're listening
a lot of
to.
so
it's
radio
to keep
stuff
the
isn't,
traditional Christian Christmas songs
Sure.
kind of going. And then the school does a Christmas play every year that people are invited to as well, that always at the end incorporates, the Christmas story and the birth of Jesus. So these are some of the ways that even in the midst of Advent, anticipating Christmas, we're telling and learning and teaching and celebrating the Christmas story, especially with children.
Sure.
We also, towards the end of Advent, there'll be a Saturday when hopefully the weather's okay, when a group of men and teenagers from the parish will erect the manger, which is outside St.
that's
Mary's
beautiful.
Church.
Yeah, that's
And then the week before Christmas with the children's choir at that Mass, we will process out, light the manger, and bless it for the year. And it's a way of kind of celebrating, the coming and the gift of Christmas. But one of the last Advent activities that we have comes a couple of days before Christmas when we invite anybody who'd like to come. So we have families that come. We have a small army of about 25 people that come and literally take down all of the Advent decorations and all of a sudden within a couple of hours decorate for Christmas. And so once that's done, we're really ready to enter into the Christmas season. And then of course there's a lot of preparation that goes on during Advent with all of the ministries, the music and the choirs, for Christmas itself. In addition, on Christmas Eve, in addition to the 4:30 Mass, which is packed at St. Mary's, we also have a 4:30 Mass at the very same time at St. John's High School. They're very gracious to allow us to come in there.
Okay.
And at that Mass, we have young adults and college students who are home who in the past, when they were in high school, participated in the music ministry at St. Mary's, provide all the music. So it's a wonderful kind of almost reunion for that age group
neat.
and a lot of their
That's
families as well. Then at 7 o'clock, we'll have the Christmas pageant, which involves younger children acting out the Christmas story, which they always love to do. One year, there was a little girl who was coaching her kindergarten sister, and they were both going to be angels, and she says, just wait till next year, you're going to get wings. So we try to find a family that has a newborn child who takes the role of the Holy Family, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and that's a great celebration as well. And of course, we still hold on to the traditional midnight Mass at midnight, and we always have a great crowd with that, with the adult choir as well, as in addition to the Christmas Masses, on Christmas Day.
And you still do, because
we
a
do.
Number of congregations.
We do have
of
a
other
9
faiths
and 11 because of the crowds that come on Christmas Eve, and knowing that families have different traditions for Christmas Eve celebrations. We have good crowds at the 9 o'clock and the 11 o'clock
I think that's
Mass on
important
Christmas
because
as well.
that gets lost in particularly in other denominations. Christmas Eve becomes kind of the focus, and there aren't always Christmas Day services.
Right.
And gosh, an early morning Christmas Day service is my favorite. It's quiet.
It is, and we, the musicians, obviously are exhausted when Christmas comes because of the number of celebrations. But we try to put as much into the Christmas Day, Masses as we do, for the Christmas Eve.
And as you mentioned, Christmas season as opposed to Christmas Day.
Right,
I mean,
right.
And I love that aspect of it too. It doesn't just end at.
Going back to our kind of European Christian roots, it really was, Christmas begins on Christmas, and then you celebrate the 12 days of Christmas with the giving of gifts over the course of the 12 days. And again, for many cultures and countries as well, Epiphany is actually, the story of the three kings is actually the day of gift giving. And Christmas itself is kind of focused on celebrating the birth, but the gifts come later on.
That'd be hard to sell here.
Oh,
now.
it would be. It would obviously, yes.
Very hard to sell in this
As
country.
soon as the Halloween candy is off the shelf,
or
it's
before,
Christmas.
or before. You go into stores now and I say, yep, Halloween and Christmas, and it's all.
So it's nice coming, to Mass or to anything that's going on during Advent is a way of kind of stepping out of the busyness and the hectic pace of the culture and just being able to kind of celebrate, something a little bit more subdued before the big celebration of Christmas itself.
Sure. Yeah, the whole spiritual aspect of the Christmas season, it gets harder to keep hold of, I think, as maybe it's a function of getting a little older, but it just seems that there's so much, I think the quiet piece, there's so much noise associated with Christmas. Some of that's very happy noise, which is good.
Lives, and especially family lives, parents with children are very busy, working parents, children involved in many activities, and that's their normal pace. And it just seems that in the month of December, once Thanksgiving has come and now it's December, it just revs up even all the more, and people are and it's all about moving towards that
something else
deadline of Christmas Eve for families as well.
And then I also think it'd be interesting in your opinion about it, that the Advent services for people who have a tough time with Christmas, people who have had losses or divorced, and Christmas can be really hard.
It can be a very, very...
And the Advent services, and I guess that's why I like Christmas morning too. Historically, it's always been that quiet. My focus is on the spiritual aspect of Christmas, not, I mean, it's wonderful, the kids, but
one of the themes that always emerges, in the season of Advent through the music and through scriptures and the liturgy is the sense of the coming light into the darkness of the world. And certainly for people who experience darkness that comes from loss of loved ones, that's very evident and prevalent, especially at that time of the year as the days are getting shorter and the darkness gets longer. And that's one of the reasons, traditionally why people put up Christmas trees and put candles in the windows and lights outside. It's how do we light up the darkness? So spiritually, it's all about pointing in the season of Advent to the coming of Jesus, the light of the world, who comes into the world to kind of bring light to the darkness, hope to the weary, and hope to all of us, to the world itself. So it is a time for people to be able to kind of, sometimes of the panic of the season, to set aside the worries of the world. For others, they carry that, deep within them each and every day. So it's important to acknowledge, that with people as well, and to spend more time, being aware of, attentive to, and present, to people at that time.
Sure. Well, great. Well, thank you for coming and
you, Matt.
sharing a lot about what Advent and Christmas are all about, and for people, and the information about the parish has been scrolling along as we've been talking, and invite people obviously to participate.
All are welcome at St. Mary's.
That's great.
Happy Advent and Merry Christmas.
You too.
Thank you.
Hoping that we treat everybody today with respect, tolerance, and kindness. Thanks for joining us. Till next time.